Brian, just could you talk about how your team came out? Because Greg Varney, he said congratulations, but he just talked about how your team came out physically and mentally, and as a result of winning those duels, you took a 2-0 lead. Could you just talk about mentally how your team came out ready, focused on the task at hand?
I would echo my longtime adversary, his words. Yeah, the guys came out ready to play. That's credit to that team. Our last performance here wasn't great, and they always have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I don't have to do too much poking and prodding. I do sometimes, but I save that for big moments. And the discussion that we had prior to this game was it's Leagues Cup, but it also had a secondary meaning. LA Galaxy is at the top of the Western Conference. We didn't have a good performance against LAFC, and so how do we measure ourselves against the top of the Western Conference? So that is a well-coached, very good LA Galaxy team, dangerous team, Maz, and we only allowed them a goal in the latter stages of the game.
Your off-ball movement, could you talk about that? Because that seemed to create a lot of the passing that you had.
Well, look, they had the majority of the possession. I saw some of the preliminary stats. So, yeah, we were able to extend some possessions, which we needed to, but back to your original question, the two set-piece goals, those duels, winning those duels, Albert's service, Yaimar's header, Jackson being just sharp, it's life or death inside the penalty box, started us off on a really, good momentum that, they rewarded themselves for coming out and playing with intensity. So credit to those guys in there.
Yeah, sort of piggybacking on what you alluded to there. You beat the Galaxy 3-1, relatively comfortable victory. You haven't beat a lot of teams ahead of you in the standings this year. What should we make out of a performance like this one?
That we have a good team. Look, I read your column and things like that, and I know people are antsy, and I get it, totally get it. But look, this team can play with the best in our division. We have 9 regular season games left. We are now in the round of 16 in Leagues Cup. We're in a semifinal of the Open Cup, which is going to be epic, like bringing that up. We're playing against Pumas, where there is some history, some recent history. I love to have a bunch of people in the stands. I'd love to have the Pumas fans that are here in Seattle come out, watch. It's going to be another exciting game. So I think that the team, our team, is a good one.
Brian, just looking at it from a Leagues Cup perspective, what are some of the things that you've learned from your team in short tournaments that have allowed you to gain the confidence to throw out the formations, not the formation, my apologies, the players out there knowing full well that they're going to perform in this short tournament?
It's a great question, because what we were talking about right now with the coaches is, again, back to the history of the club. We've been pretty successful in knockout games, whether that's Open Cup victories earlier in our history with Zig and all the Open Cups, and certainly in the playoffs in MLS, there's you lose, you're out. There's been different iterations of home and home and stuff like that. There's been Champion Leagues performances. This team has been very good in knockout competitions. The first Leagues Cup in 2021, we beat some pretty good teams. We beat León, we beat Club America. We lost in the final. But we beat Santos Lagunas, Raul's wonder goal at the end of the game. So we've been pretty good in knockout competitions. And I think that is testament to the mentality that this club has built over the years, and it's kudos to the guys in the locker room that continue that tradition.
You guys already have, obviously a lot of depth in the attack. What does it mean to have your center backs contribute as a component in the attack
Jessica,
tonight?
great question, because all 3 goals were scored by defenders. So that's a great question, great catch. We've been close in some of our set piece opportunities. Maybe we haven't converted on all of them, but we've been pretty dangerous. And then, look, Alex's goal was, that's a really good goal. To curve it, curl it over, it was well taken. There's our right back, who's in the middle of the field, picking up a loose ball and putting that ball in a side netting. Credit to those 3.
Good questions on this side here with Felipe first.
Felipe.
Coach Bryant, against Minnesota, against Necaxa, you started with a different 11. When you started with a few younger guys. This game, you started with stronger players. Are you expecting to continue rotating your players for the next game?
We'll take a look. We'll see. I wanted to make some subs today to save some energy for Pumas. That's going to be a hard game. We'll see how far we go in the tournament. We have a busy schedule in MLS League play when we come back. You throw in the Open Cup. We have a busy schedule, so we do have a deep team. I'm confident in a lot of players. Look, Josh Atencio came back, and he was a little rusty, not in a bad way, but just happy to be with his teammates. I thought Danny Leyva came on and did a good job. All the subs that we brought on, were good, and we're going to need all of those guys because we have a lot of games in a lot of different competitions.
Thanks for taking the time. You talked yesterday about how you wanted to take possession in this game, and that's not necessarily what happened, but you still outshot the other team. Can you talk a little about how you adjusted that and what happened?
Well, look, coaches always have a game plan, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. You could say that my game plan didn't work because we wanted to take some of the sting out of the game with extending our possessions in their half of the field, but it didn't happen. But we won 3-1. So there you go. That's coaching in a nutshell.
Hey, Coach. So we talked about the 3 defenders that scored. But there's also another defender that also had himself a good game. What do you make of Nuhu's performance today? Creating. He's the reason those 2 corners happened early on. Based on his positive play, what do you make of his performance?
Good. Nuhu's been a tremendous player for this franchise. He's obviously part of a national team program in Cameroon. The joy that Nuhu brings to the fans, the heartache sometimes he brings to me. I love the kid. He's been such a good player for the club, so kudos to him. He had a very good game.
Buenas noches. Felicitaciones por el triunfo.
Thank you.
Hoy le ganaron a uno de los equipos protagonistas de la MLS. Fue un gran triunfo. Y el equipo fue otro equipo distinto al del domingo en cuanto a actitud y nivel de juego. ¿Es posible que el equipo mantenga ese nivel de juego y esa actitud para lo que resta del año? Gracias.
Today we had a win to one of the key teams from the MLS this year, and it showed a very improved attitude and level than the last game. Do you believe that we're going to be able to maintain that level of play and attitude for the upcoming games and the MLS season?
We hope so. That's my answer. It's always, it's sports and the team can't play well all the time, but it's my job to make sure that the players are prepared to face different opponents in different competitions so that they have the best chance of success. And I think tonight, I have to give credit to Andy Rose and Rodrigo. They worked very hard on the set pieces, and they got the players to believe in some of the things that we wanted to do, and you could see that in the performance tonight. And so how do we continue? How does the team continue to play at that level? That's a combination of the coaches. Yes, we have a job to do, but it's also the players that have to execute in certain moments to make sure we're successful.
Sí, bueno, mi respuesta es que espero que se repita, ¿no? Esa es mi respuesta en general. Sin embargo, esto es un deporte y no siempre se dan esas condiciones, pero justamente mi trabajo es trabajar con el equipo para poder tenerlos listos y poder competir en cualquier tipo de torneo o campeonato o liga que pueda haber, y mantenerlos en ese nivel. Ahora, también es trabajo del resto del equipo de trabajo, como Andy Rose y Rodrigo, que prepararon al equipo, por ejemplo, en pelotas paradas, para que puedan ser efectivos en eso, y se vio hoy día en el partido cómo justamente eso tomó un rol protagónico en lo que pasó en el partido. De tal forma, entonces, quiere decir que es trabajo del equipo, del staff de entrenamiento, pero también es responsabilidad de los jugadores mantener ese nivel de actitud y de responsabilidad en el partido.
That was a tough one.
We'll,
Well done, Gus.
we'll take some questions here in Zoom, and then we'll have time for a couple of follow-ons here in the room as well. Justin, I'll give you the word now.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for your time. Justin Ruderman from Leagues Cup. You mentioned before the match that Galaxy's Achilles' heel was defending. I think that's especially true when it comes to set pieces this season. Just wondering, was there something you spotted specifically in terms of how to exploit Galaxy in that area when you were looking at film, or was it kind of just a case of get as many of those set pieces as you can and provide that service into the box?
Those guys, again, Andy and Rodrigo, do a good job. We as a coaching staff also watch tape and film, and we kind of get together our plan. The majority of it is, what we do, because in my opinion, set pieces, corner kicks especially, it's about the service, and it's life or death inside the penalty box. It's usually more about the player's desire inside the 18-yard box to get their head on something or to follow up on a rebound if the goalkeeper makes a save or it comes somewhere in your vicinity. It's reading the flight of the game, the flight of the ball. And so credit to Albert, who I believe, if we do the league-wide stats, because he was in the press conference with me, I think that's like 13 assists for him if they give him the assist on Jackson's goal as well. So credit to Albert with good service, but then also credit to, Ymar and Jackson just for, understanding that, it is life or death inside the penalty box, and set pieces are a big part of, our league, EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga, all around the world, set pieces are critical.
If I could, one more. Just your thoughts on the next round, a rematch with Pumas. What kind of, memories or emotions does that spark for you?
I get it. I love it. If I was a fan, I'd buy my tickets tomorrow. I think it's going to be great. I mean, it's very recent history. Pumas is a good team. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll go with Nico Moreno in Zoom. Nico?
Thank you, Brian. Congrats on the win. I wanted to ask you about Alex Roldan. He struggled at times. He struggled last game. You give him the vote of confidence. He has a really good game today. He gets a goal. Just talk about, obviously, how you keep trusting these guys, and then when it comes to this sort of games, they just come out and play and perform?
Look, Alex is a tremendous player. He's done a great job for this club. The goal was icing on the cake in tonight's game. I thought defensively he was very good. I thought his timing of his movement to come inside, the overloads and the movements that we have on the right-hand side, I thought it was very good. Obviously, his rapport with his brother is going back to when they were playing soccer in the backyard. It was Cesar. So, yeah, he had a great performance, and, certainly a lot of credit should be given to Alex for tonight's performance.
And just quickly, you've been asked this in different ways, but I mean, would you call this a statement win? Would you call it a turning point? What would you call this win?
A good performance by a very good team.
Thank you.
We have time for two here in the follow-ons in the room. Jeremiah and then Jose.
Just wanted to ask about the goalkeeper situation. Greg made a comment about how no team in the world is going to let their starting goalkeeper go 5 weeks without playing. What's going on there?
I was listening to his press conference in there. It's a great question, Jeremiah. I went back and forth on that for the same reasons that Greg did. But I felt that Andrew, felt a little bit about, the first goal he gave up against Necaxa, and the performance of the whole team wasn't good, and he's got to play again against LAFC in the Open Cup. And so I weighed the pluses and minuses of not having Steph been given a game versus trying to, build up Andrew for a game that's, a couple weeks away. And that was a tough choice for me. And I ended up with Andrew, and we'll go forward, and we'll see what happens on Monday. I'll sleep on things, and, we'll make a good decision.
Brian, one of the things that we've encountered in this particular room at times is some of the frustration that you've seen through performances that your team hasn't been able to deliver. However, you've told us that you are of the mindset that you let the team handle those things. It's their team. You're here as the steward of that. How much joy are you getting out of seeing the team come out and from that result on Sunday, and then giving you the result, giving the fans the result today?
I'll give you a little insight to the inside of the locker room, because you asked, and I'm in a good mood. So I have a pretty strict idea of what I want to do for each game, and the film that we do, the film on our opponent, and how we set the team up, and my comments before the game, and then my comments, right before we go out for a match. And I have a routine and something that I believe needs to be consistent. But tonight, I'm telling you, I'm listening to them, because I walked around the other way to get my cup of coffee that I like to walk out with Tommy Dutra. Christian was talking, and Stefan Fry was talking, Jordan Morris was talking, Paul Rothrock was talking to his buddy Jackson Reagan. Guys were having conversations in the room, talking about, well, this is what we want to do, and we're going to try and do this. And so when I walked in prior to the guys going out on the field, I said, you guys got this. I believe in you. You guys are a good team. You guys don't need any more words from me. Good luck. And I walked out, because they did it themselves.